Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of United Talks podcast. My United fan, football fan, just join in. Let's have conversations. Let's build, you know, community together and, just build camaraderie and all of that. Also, if you're watching this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't already, please, if you haven't already, please do like, share, subscribe. If you have, please comment and let me know your thoughts and feelings about everything we talk about, especially when it comes to Manchester United and everything related to the club. And today we're going to be talking and diving deep and doing a tactical analysis, tactical preview for an all-important game between Manchester United and Brighton and Hove Albion at Old Trafford. First and foremost, let's just kind of talk about this game, just give you a basis or a background. Like I said, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as it relates to Manchester United. And if you're a football enthusiast, please join in, like, share, subscribe as well. Put your comments in the comment section. Let's all, have community and conversations together. Now, Manchester United are finally starting to look like a side that believes again under Rúben Amorim, with back-to-back wins, including the monumental victory at Anfield. Yes, which even like Arne Slot hasn't still gotten over, despite their 5-1 win. But he this win against Liverpool have breathed a new lease of life into Old Trafford. But now comes another test. A team that has haunted United over the past few years, Brighton and Hove Albion. One of the few sides who have made United look uncomfortable at both home and away. This isn't just another league game. It's a chance for Amorim to prove that this version of United can do what previous ones couldn't. Beat Brighton convincingly and then sustain the real momentum in the Premier League. The truth is, this Brighton game is an all-important game. It's a game that will define kind of like the momentum that we're in, whether it's a small blip or a huge run that we're going to go on. Because once we get this, then it's a must-win game. That's all I'm trying to say. Because it builds momentum and it gives us everything that we need ahead of the game, right? So let's basically just dig deep and analyze it. Starting with the head-to-head, basically. The head-to-head of this game, it's pretty straightforward. Let's not scapegoat it. Let's not sugarcoat anything whatsoever. Brighton have been a real problem at Man United, for Man United. The Seagulls have won 6 of the last 7 league meetings between them and Manchester United. And yeah, it's something to think about, basically. Because the truth is, in as much as we want to kind of deny it, yeah. So they've won 6 of the last 7 meetings against United, including a 3-1 victory at Old Trafford last season under Erik ten Hag. Before that, United had lost 3 of the last 17 meetings between the two clubs. But to make matters worse, Brighton have won 1 of each of the last 3 visits at Old Trafford. A feat only Manchester City have, bettered between 1968 and 1972. But for United, this is not just another 3 points. It's about flipping the frustrating narrative that's lingered for too long. And the new narrative has started to spring up. You look at this dashboard here, you can see that, especially with regards to head-to-head, when it comes to both teams, the last 5 games, Brighton have won basically. So the last game, Brighton won 3-1 at Old Trafford. Then the return leg, I think they beat Man United 2-1. And then there was the Man United 2-0 victory under Erik ten Hag. And then there was the Man United losing 3-1 again, and then losing 1-0 again. And that's ten Hag's first season. So Brighton have been a tough nut to crack. You look at form guide and all of that. The last 5 games, Man United have 3 wins and 2 losses in the Premier League, while Brighton have 3 wins and 2 draws, basically being unbeaten in the last 5. And in all competitions, you see that Man United have same 3 wins and 2 losses, while Brighton have So in all competitions, Brighton have 3 wins and 2 draws. Man United have 3 wins and 2 losses. While in the Premier League, basically Brighton have 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss. Then obviously, Man United have 3 wins and 2 losses, obviously. And I think it's because of the cup game that Brighton played and stuff. So it is what it is. We have to just, and then in the number of times we faced, Man United have won 18, Brighton have won 9, and then both teams have drawn 4. And if you look at like form guide, momentum is actually finally swinging United's way after a shaky start. I mean, the Red Devils have won consecutive league games for the first time under Amorim, a 2-0 win over Sunderland and a 2-1 statement victory at Anfield. Now, Man United sit ninth on the table. Um, Man United sit ninth on the table, and with the potential of basically climbing up, and all of that. Um, and Man United are 3 points off second place. They've won their last 3 home games against Sunderland, Chelsea, and Burnley. So, which means we should continue with the game against Brighton, right? But that's as many home wins as in the previous 13 combined. So before the first home win, 13 games prior, we had only 3 home wins. Now we have 3 back-to-back home wins. Sunderland, Chelsea, Burnley. Now, Brighton, meanwhile, are unpredictable but very dangerous. They've alternated between draws and wins in the last 4 league games, including a 3-1 win over Chelsea and a 2-1 triumph over Newcastle last weekend. I mean, we could talk about that and all of that. You could see it like even in the dashboard that I just showed you just now. You see their last game. And then obviously, as I said, they're very unpredictable. They're a bit up and down, a bit stop-start. Now, Newcastle, when they played Newcastle, former Man United player, former Man United striker Danny Welbeck rolled back the years with a brace. Now, the Seagulls are 10th, 1 point behind Man United. If you look at the table, like I just showed earlier, 10th, 1 point behind United, and basically, but they have kept just 1 clean sheet in their last 20 league matches. And that defensive fragility could be very decisive when it comes to Brighton and all of that. We're looking at this dashboard here. For goals for, we're 9th on the table, Brighton are 7th. Because we scored 11, Brighton has scored 12. And then for shots, we're 3rd, 107. Brighton are 13th with 78. For assists, we're 14th. Brighton are 7, 6, and 8, respectively. For saves, we have 18. Brighton have 18. So we're both 10th. And then yellows, we are 9. Brighton have 22. So they foul a lot. They're very aggressive. That's what it means. And then for reds, we have 1 and they have none. They're 9th and stuff. So it is what it is. For top performing players and top performing forwards, you have Brian Bumo, who has 1 assist and 2 goals. In the Premier League, Benjamin Sesko has 2 goals from 9 shots, and Bruno from 8 shots on target, basically. And then Bruno has played more minutes than any of our midfielders. 686. Maybe Bruno Fernandes comes in. Well, this is forwards, right? So 686 of all forwards. Matheus Cunha comes in second with 442, but 0 goals, 0 assists, 12 starts. And then Joshua Zirkzee has 74 minutes, 0 goals, 0 assists, 5 shots, and 1 shot on target with 27 passes and all of that. So we go on to look at, other players that are involved. We're talking about the midfielders for Man United. Bruno Fernandes played 712 minutes, 2 goals, 1 assist. Casemiro 387 minutes. I think Bruno Fernandes has the most minutes in the entire team. Casemiro 387, 1 goal, 4 assists, 4 shots. Mason Mount 1 goal, 4 shots, 34 minutes. Ahmad 0 goals, 1 assist, 6 shots, 6 starts and 4 shots on target, 507 minutes. Then Manuel Ugarte 274 minutes, 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 everything. But was in goal involvement, you could see if we could dig deeper. And then Kobe Menu has 118 minutes with 61 passes in total. And that is compared to Brighton and Hove Albion that have, Brian Gruda, 220 minutes, Kaoru Mitoma, 510 minutes, Yassine Ayari, 633 minutes, James Milner, 158 minutes, and then Mats Wifer, who has 375 minutes played, and all of that. If we also look at Brighton's forward, the one that we're going to focus on is going to be their key player. But we have Danny Welbeck for 56 minutes. Yankuba Minte has 684 minutes. Jorginho Rota has 442 minutes. And Stefanos Zymas has 67 minutes played. But the highest goal scorer in this one is Danny Welbeck with 4 goals in the Premier League. Then we go to defense, where Man United kind of soars in defense. You have Harry Maguire, who's playing for one goal, 1 assist, and 2 starts for for Man United with 1 shot on target. He's played 271 minutes. Patrick Dogo 502 minutes, more minutes than Maguire. 1 assist. That's the assist for Benjamin Sesko. Then you have 502 minutes. Well, no, the assist for Bruno in the Chelsea game. Yeah, Diogo Dalot, 1 assist. He's played 407 minutes. And then you also have Luke Shaw, 693 minutes, played more minutes, 314 passes, 0 goals, 0 assists, and all of that. We have Nuzay Mazraoui, who has played just 132 minutes. Lenny Euro, 459 minutes. And then you have Aiden Heaven, who has played just 3 minutes. And then you also have Matheus de Ligt, 720 minutes. So the top performing defenders, Matheus de Ligt, Luke Shaw, and Lenny Euro, including Harry Maguire, based on minutes and performances and stuff, right? Then for goalie, you have Ataban there, who has played 540 minutes, 6 starts. Sander Lamens has played 180 minutes, 2 starts. As against the Bart Verbruggen. Bart Verbruggen has played, has started 8 games and played 720 minutes. And then for their midfielders, we talked about Louis Dunk, who's for their other defenders rather, who's played 720 minutes. Adam Webster hasn't played at all. We have Kadioglu has played 467 minutes, and the highest playing midfielder is Jean-Paul Van Hecken, who has played. Jean-Paul Van Hecken has played 720 minutes. The most, him and Louis Dunk have played the most. And then you have Diego Capola, who has played 15 minutes. So it's pretty much straightforward what basically Brighton has done so far and how both teams stack up against each other. Which brings me to the tactical play of the tactical information, tactical analysis of how Brighton play. Under Fabian Hürzeler, Brighton are tactically fluid, direct, and unpredictable. They've evolved from De Zerbi's patient, possession-heavy model into a more vertical, progressive version. Brighton often shift between a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-2-4, adjusting based on how opponents press, and they build up from the back, but are more willing to play long vertical passes to break lines quickly. Key elements of Hürzeler's Brighton is verticality. They attack faster and they take more risks in possession. Fluid attacking shapes, wingers like Mitoma, when fit, and Minte drift inside, allowing the fullbacks to push forward. Then they have box overloads as well, where multiple players flood the penalty area to overwhelm defenses, and also then they thrive on high pressing. That's the final point of Brighton's style of play. They thrive on high pressing. They press man-to-man, high up the pitch, especially forcing teams into wide traps. The downside, the aggressive press often leaves them vulnerable to quick transitions, something that United absolutely exploit with runners like Mbeumo and Cunha. Now, we're going to look at the predicted lineup, which I'm going to also talk about how Man United can take advantage of Brighton. So we're going to look at the predicted lineup for Brighton against Manchester United. We'll go with the last lineup that they used in the game against Newcastle, where they started with Bart Verbruggen in net, then Louis Dunk and John Van Heike in centre back, strong midfield, strong centre backs. And I think Van Heike is one of the players that actually benches De Ligt in the national team. And then you have Kadioglu on left back, and then Max Weifer on right back. Then you have Ayari and Carlos Baleba, Manchester United's target. Carlos Baleba playing in defensive midfield in their 4-2-3-1. Then you have John Rota, and then you have Gomez on the left, and then Yankuba Minte on the right. And then you have Danny Welbeck, fan favorite for Manchester United, playing in the attack as the centre forward. So basically, the key player for Brighton in this one is I've watched. He's not the one that has the most productive. He's not the one that has the most productive when it comes to. He's not the most productive when it comes to goals and assists and stuff. But he's very important to how Brighton play. He's very, very important to how Brighton play. That is Yankuba Minte. Yankuba Minte has played a couple games for Brighton. I talked about the stats and stuff. He's played 8 games for Brighton Premier League. 684 minutes, 1 goal, 2 assists. Very aggressive 21-year-old player. Surprisingly, he has played for Newcastle. He was sold from Newcastle to, I think he was sold. So he was bought by Newcastle at one point, sold to PSV on loan or something, and then, loaned out to PSV, and then I think he came back, either PSV or one of the Dutch teams, then came back to Newcastle, who now eventually sold him to Brighton. And because he sold him to Brighton, Brighton sold Adingra to Sunderland. This is one of those players that was sold due to all those things that go on with regards to fair play and yeah, fair play and all those things with my mind is switching off right now. So fair play and all those things that has to do with Premier League sustainability rules, PSR. So yeah, and then obviously he played in the last time he scored was on international duty for Gambia. That's where he played on international duty. Apart from that, he played featured in the 2-1. I mean, that's when he scored on international duty. He played in 1-1 draw with Wolves. Surprisingly, Wolves drew them. That's why I said they're a bit up and down. Wolves that everybody's beating, drawing against Brighton. I think Wolves even scored first, and then Brighton came from behind and all of that to equalize. Then you also have their 2-1 win against Newcastle, which is the last Premier League win. So it'll be very important. Both teams won 2-1, so it's very important how Man United approaches this game against Brighton and seeing it as an all-important game. So he's one of their key players. Another key player for Brighton is Dan Welbeck. I mean, who else? Who else but the former Red Devil, Dan Welbeck? Dan Welbeck has been in brilliant form. 4 goals in his last 3 Premier League matches, including a match-winning brace against Newcastle. And his intelligent movement between the lines and willingness to stretch defenses with diagonal runs makes him the ideal spearhead for Brighton's direct attacking style. You add this to the history with United, and he'll be itching to make another statement at Old Trafford. He's done it before, and he can do it again. But we have to be very wary of that. And then that is pretty much all about it. But one thing I want to say before I go on to how Manchester United play is the fact that this is an all-important game for Man United. And I'm just saying it before I forget it. This is an all-important game for Manchester United. And it will feel like the Liverpool game when Man United play, but we shall see. Now, moving on to other things. Tactical analysis of how Manchester United play. And we've talked about this several times on this channel, but we're still going to talk about it again. Because Man United evolved as well, have evolved tactics, especially in games against Newcastle and the likes. Rúben Amorim's philosophy is finally taking shape in his 3-4-2 or 3-5 or 3-2-5 hybrid system. And this has given United structure, fluidity, and purpose, which Rúben Amorim has been itching for years. For months rather. In possession, United push their wing backs high. Amad Diallo and Diogo Dalot, especially in the case in point in Liverpool, Amad Diallo and Diogo Dalot or Patrick Dogu provide width in this setup, with Bruno Fernandes dropping deep between the lines to dictate play. Amorim has emphasized on quick transitions and controlled vertical progression, which allows United to attack space directly rather than recycle possession endlessly. Out of possession, they press in a 5-2-3 shape, compressing central zones to prevent build-up through the middle. Now that's where Matheus Cunha works. Works really hard, and that's where his skill set actually fits Man United. Cunha's work rate and pressing becomes key, forcing mistakes from the opposition. Now, I did a full an analysis on Matheus Cunha and how important he is to Man United, and this is exactly why. Statistically, United have had 58 shots this season, the most in the Premier League, and have made 131 off-the-ball runs behind the defenses, showing aggressive attacking intent which Amorim demands. 131 off-the-ball runs, more than half has been made by, guess who? I've said this before, Bryan Mbeumo. And then we've had more shots as well, 108 shots, and then 58 shots on target. It's like we are shooting more. We just need to be more clinical to try to finish off the games. Like, as the games are are pretty much important, and we need to go on a run, be able to kind of like dictate how we want to play. And now, let's talk about um predicted lineup for Manchester United. Predicted lineup for Manchester United will go like maybe the same lineup that we used against Liverpool. Pretty much not the same, but the one I predicted against Liverpool, I just went to it because I think that is what Amorim will try to do. But even if, because obviously, Brighton are defensively vulnerable, so they're not going to be like Liverpool, but I think they're also good as well, especially with Van Hecke and stuff. But I think this lineup is kind of sensible and goes with this. So Laments in net, obviously, and then Matheus de Ligt, centre back, Lenny Yoro, and Luke Shaw. The last time it was Matheus de Ligt on the right side of centre back, Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw. So I think Harry Maguire comes in the second half or something to give Yoro a rest as well. So Yoro comes in back in the lineup. Maguire is on the bench, and then we have Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro in the mid as always, because that's the only two midfield combination we have. If anything needs to change, it will be Manuel Ugarte coming in for Casemiro, all of that. And then we have Patrick Dogu coming in as in place of Diogo Dalot for left wing back, and then Ahmad coming in at right wing back after being subbed off at 60th minute for getting a yellow card. Even though he was annoyed, and Amorim came and clarified the situation that obviously that he was annoyed that he was being subbed off for, but the idea is because of the yellow card. Then we have Mason Mount and Bumo, who are the disruptors, especially for Mason Mount, who comes into midfield to create midfield overload for the attack to thrive, and then Bumo to kind of engage the defenders and drag them out. And then if Šeško can do the same job that Bumo did, Matheus Cunha did in the game against Liverpool, that will also be great because he drags the defenders out of position for Mount and Bumo to thrive, especially on that our right side where Mount and Ahmad also work together. And then we have Benjamin Šeško as our striker. And then for key player for Manchester United in this one, we will go with, I have two key players, so I'll go with the one that I know that has been very impactful. That is Bryan Mbeumo. Bryan Mbeumo has been very impactful for Manchester United. He's played 9 games. He's scored 3 goals in all competitions and 1 assist. 730 minutes. Basically, the last goal he scored is against Liverpool, obviously, and then he also scored in the international break for Cameroon after coming off the bench. They played the full 90 minutes against Sunderland. That was very impactful and stuff. So that would be our key player, number 1. I think another key player for Manchester United will definitely be Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is another key player. Works perfectly. 9 matches, 756 minutes, the most of all the midfielders. 2 goals and 1 assist. And the last 2 games or last 4 games he's played, I think he's played 85 minutes. He played 85 minutes against Liverpool, played 62 minutes against for Portugal again in the game they drew 2-2 with Hungary, and then he played 86 minutes as well. So he's been playing lesser minutes, played 90 minutes against Sunderland. So that also is the outlier in this one. And then obviously Bruno Fernandes, key player, dictator of play and stuff. He's no surprises with this one, basically being the key player for Manchester United. He remains the heartbeat of this United team. He's created more chances, 12, than any other player in Premier League. I mean, he's created not 12, 22 chances than any other player in the Premier League so far, including the 8 in open play. Beyond that, he scored decisive goals, including the last-minute penalty against Burnley, and also continues to link the midfield and attack with elite consistency, especially with that wonderful assist for Harry Maguire against Liverpool. Now, against a side like Brighton, who often commit bodies forward, Bruno's ability to release early through balls and pick runners like Mbeumo or Šeško could be the game changer in this one. And it will be very interesting to see, pretty much interesting to see for Manchester United and all that. Then there's also, we're going to talk about the key strategies which Man United can win this game. The key strategies for Man United to win, pretty straightforward. Like, I always have 4 key strategies to win, and I'm going to talk about it and then summarize these key strategies as to how Manchester United can exploit Brighton to actually win the game. The first one is to exploit Brighton's high line. which is very key. Brighton's press leaves space behind, and United must use Mbeumo's space and Fernandes' vision to stretch the game vertically and attack directly behind their fullbacks, which is where Brighton thrive. They always push their fullbacks forward. So we need to use Bruno's pace to exploit. Bruno's passing and Mbeumo's pace to exploit those highlights. And those one touch in between Bruno, Casemiro, and all of that will be very key in helping us, thrive against Brighton. And then we have to also control the midfield transition zone as well. In the midfield, we need to control the midfield transition. Brighton flood the midfield during transitions. United's double pivot, with Bruno and Casemiro will be very key. They must stay compact and disciplined and cut the passing lanes and break quickly. Then if they overload the midfield, we need to Mount needs to drop back in the mid to actually help. If there's Matheus Cunha starting, that also helps because he drops in and then Brighton doesn't have any player to mark. But then they would expect us to try and play the way we played against Liverpool. But then we will also try and switch it up because even Arne Slot has not recovered from that. Then we win the wide battles. That's number 3. Win the wide battles. Brighton's system depends on width. United's wing backs have to stay switched on defensively, especially if Mitoma or Minte play, especially Minte on the right side against Patrick Dogo or Dalot, while also timing their runs to deliver overloads when countering. Very key. And obviously, with the stats that we've seen with Patrick Dogo being ahead with stats with counterplay and all of those things, it will be very key for him to actually showcase his talent here. And he's only 20 and still has a lot of time and a lot of things to learn, but it is what it is. We need to win now. And then Number 4, we need to maintain composure under pressure. Brighton's high press is relentless. United need to trust Amorim's structure, build calmly from the back or play long when necessary, draw the press. So what happens? You draw the press by passing the ball to the defender. When they press high, you pass it back to the keeper who plays it long over that press, and then Mbeumo has his chance one-on-one, which is what we need to try to do to get them challenging one-on-one. And why I say maintain pressure and composure under pressure, if we play long and the defender defends it, we win the second balls as we always do. Keep it narrow and win second balls. We draw the press, release early into open channels. As I said, if executed correctly, it could tear Brighton's setup apart. They've been hot and cold, but they've also been good this season. And when they've been good, they've been really good. Especially when they pick up momentum. Because I think in the Newcastle game, Newcastle scored first. Botamade, I think, scored first. And the next thing, they just came and boom, boom, they gave them 2. So that's pretty much what I have to say with regards to what to do. So for the 4 things that I said Man United can do is exploit Brighton's high line, which is very key. Those long passes and all that. Then Elements needs to be very, very adept in his passing. Control the midfield transition zone, win the wide battles with wing backs and stuff, and then maintain composure under pressure. Don't just lose the ball anyhow or play loose passes. Keep those passing lanes and passing channels, open and fluid and moving. And then to wrap this all up, Man United will come into this clash finally resembling a team with direction. Amorim's ideas are sticking. Fernandes is thriving, and Mbeumo looks like one of the signings of the season. I was supposed to do a video on Mbeumo. I've worked on the script. I'm just trying to, work on other things before I talk about Brian Mbeumo. But he is a key player in this Man United setup, in this Man United season. You're going to see it later after the live. But Brighton are always a tough puzzle. Tactically brave, unpredictable, and capable of hurting anyone on their day. So we need to hope that they are not even on their day. And if United must control transitions, exploit their spaces behind Brighton's press, and keep composure in possession, this could be another statement performance. One that confirms Rúben Amorim's project is no longer in its early phase, but it is officially on the way. But we're still going to be hopeful that Man United will take full advantage of Brighton and to try to see if we can actually win them. Because Fabian Hürzeler is going to think that he's going to come with a certain style of play to kind of counter what Man United has to offer. But then it will be, the onus will be on Manchester United to deliver. So let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section about the Brighton game. But now I'm going to give you my prediction. The last time I predicted that Man United were going to win Liverpool 2-1 away. And this time around, I'm going to predict that Manchester United are going to win by a hard-fought 2-1 as well. So we're going to win 2-1, hard-fought 2-1. We will score, they will break our hearts, and we will score again, and we will win the game. So 2-1. What do you guys think? What's your prediction? What do you think Man United will do? How do you think Man United will play in this game? Put it in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section as we build towards the Brighton game. It happens on Saturday, so we will, depending on how things go that day, we might do a watch along, but it will be the first ever watch along on this channel. We'll do it. We'll see how that goes. If it works, fine. If it doesn't, I'll let you all know as well. But keep our eye out. We'll watch the game. We'll analyze it together and we'll break it down together. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you haven't already, please do like, share, subscribe. Like I said, this Brighton game is going to be like the Liverpool game. It's going to be like one of those games where we see it like a final. We play Brighton the way we, because both teams have rested. They've had a whole week of rest. So it's not like Brighton was playing Conference League or something. Nope. They're ready like we were ready and all of that. And I can see training videos and stuff within strength training and stuff. So which is good because we have time on training ground and we have to embed those those tactics and those formations and styles of play and all of that. So let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. If you haven't already, please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as it relates to Manchester United. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye and God bless.